Hello and welcome to Aurelian University. In this video I'm going to talk about the arrangements of cocci or coccus bacteria. And so we've got several arrangements here, and sort of different species of bacteria might have different arrangements, and so it's useful to know them. And also it's useful to know the names of them, because you might see parts of these names in the names of a certain species, for example. So coccus, right here we have just one bacterium. Now some bacteria tend to accumulate in pairs, and if it's a coccus bacteria, then it'll be a Diplococcus. So a bunch of groups of 2 bacteria. There's also Streptococcus. You've probably heard of strep, like strep throat. And so that's a long chain. Now Diplococcus and Streptococcus bacteria come about when the species can only divide along one plane. So say there's an invisible line right here, and every division happens along that line. So every time the cell reproduces, it happens along that one line. And so all that bacteria end up sort of right next to each other. And in a Streptococcus bacteria, they'll sort of stay that way. They won't sort of go off and be individual bacteria. There are also tetrads, and a tetrad is similar to Streptococcus in how it divides, except for instead of only having one plane, it'll have 2 planes that it can divide on. So it can divide, and there will be a daughter cell over on its right, and then one 90 degrees from that. So it can form these tetrads. You also have Staphylococcus. This comes from a Greek word meaning essentially a bunch of grapes. And it has irregular division, so it's not got one plane or 2 plane. It can divide on essentially any plane, and it'll form these irregularly bunched groupings. And then the last group we're going to talk about are Sarcinae or Sarcinae. These have 3 planes of division, so 2 planes that we can sort of see as sort of an X and Y coordinate, and the one that goes into the page, and that allows it to form little groups of 8. So if you've heard of Staphylococcus or Streptococcus bacteria, or like a staph infection, these sorts of names will be really useful in recognizing certain properties of certain species of bacteria.